بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My name is Mohamed Lamin Kharfi. I am the head of Artificial Intelligence and Data Science Lab in University Qasim Marbah and a former professor within the University of Quebec at Trois-Rivières, Canada. Today, I'm pleased to be with you, and I thank the organizers for having given me this opportunity to share with you and to learn from you. I'll be talking about artificial intelligence and what can it bring actually to energy security. So let me share with you my presentation screen. My talk will be organized as follows. I will start with a brief introduction and motivate the problem, and then talk very briefly about artificial intelligence and data science and what it is. And then maybe the most important part of my presentation will be about data science and artificial intelligence and what they can do for the specific case of oil and gas industry. In the fourth part of my talk, I'll be talking about renewable energies and AI, and I'll terminate my talk with some concluding remarks and practical recommendations. So today, everybody is talking about energy security. It is an important or it is very important for every country. Why? Because simply the economy of any country, it can't function without energy. And this, for example, explains the fact why when there is a conflict between countries and there is a country which is an oil producer, so this conflict is very challenging, very important for other regions of the world. We also know that for a given country to ensure its energy security, this involves a number of actions. I will not enumerate them all, but I will put the focus on two actions. The first one is about improving the production of energy, improving the storage, improving its transport and its distribution, whether this energy comes from fossil or from renewable sources. And the second action is the rationalization or the reduction of the consumption, which consists in reducing the consumption through, for example, adopting things like smart homes, smart cities, smart grid, and so on. And here, what can we notice is that artificial intelligence is now omnipresent and can be very useful for both actions, for improving production, storage, and so on, and also for smart homes, smart cities, and other actions which may result in reducing the consumption. We also know that the oil and gas is one of the most lucrative industries in the world, but this industry faces a number of challenges. The first one is that it is dangerous. There are human lives, safety, security, etc. And the second issue is that it is very costly because of defects, because of corrosion, because of exploration costs, etc. And we know that every industry can benefit from AI, but maybe the oil and gas industry may benefit the most because it optimizes business operations, improves productivity, ensures safety, so on and so forth. I will give you some facts and trends. So here, a number of oil and gas companies have already adopted AI. For example, we have BP, which in 2019 invested in an AI startup to develop a platform for interpreting data related to geology, geophysics, historic information, and reservoir. We have Shell, which uses AI to analyze sensor data and to identify suboptimal operations, and also to detect and impede failures before they occur. And it partnered with Microsoft. We have ExxonMobil, which partnered with MIT to design some robots for ocean exploration. We have also Total, which uses AI to, to screen geological data to help identifying new opportunities and shortening the time to acquire licenses. And as another example, in the UK, for example, there is what people call the National Data Repository, which contains a huge amount of data related to geophysics, to infrastructure, to field, and to well. Now, what about artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence, I will talk about it very briefly. So artificial intelligence is about, of course, trying to imitate the human behavior by a machine, by a robot, by a computer, by a smartphone. And the number of applications of artificial intelligence is simply unlimited. We can find it everywhere in recognition, in face, for example, recognition, in recommender systems when you take your cell phone, in targeted marketing, in spam filtering, in search engines, and so on and so forth. It is also, or it may be found in optimizing, for example, energy storage and in predicting oil and gas prices. As for data science is very connected to artificial intelligence. It is an interdisciplinary, or data science is interdisciplinary. There is AI within it or connected to it. There is machine learning, deep learning, there is statistics, maybe sometimes there is business, etc. And the goal here is to understand and to analyze data and to try to answer questions related to those data. Now, the most important part of my presentation is about some uses or some examples of use of artificial intelligence and data science for the oil and gas industry. I will give 5 or 6 examples. So the first one is about safety and security. The challenge here for oil and gas companies is that they work in very critical environments because of different temperatures, because of toxic fumes, moving objects, etc. And there is a high risk of injury for employees. And also there is sometimes financial losses and penalties for the company. The old solutions consist in monitoring cameras manually and in physical safety sweeps, and also to control employees when they arrive on site. But the AI-based solution, the modern solutions, can use computer vision actually to monitor work or to monitor the site and to ensure that the workers are following the safety procedures, not only when they arrive, but throughout the workday. The second example is about defect detection. So here the challenge is that detecting defected pipelines, threadings, or machines sometimes is time consuming, sometimes is very costly. And the problem can be worse if this pipeline or machine is already in use. And an AI-based solution here will consist in using computer vision to verify the quality of production and to detect the defects. And such tools can be very cost effective. Here, in a topic related to the last one, we can talk about reducing maintenance cost. The challenge here is that corrosion and material degradation, as you see in the picture here, the corrosion is a big challenge, which costs billions and billions of dollars every year for companies. So The old solution consists in having engineers, corrosion engineers, who monitor and handle the health of pipelines and material. But the EI-based solution consists in using or trying to detecting the signs of corrosion before corrosion occurs. They try to detect them using computer vision, and this first helps to reducing the cost, and second, to predict what is the appropriate time to do an intervention for maintenance. The next possible application are chatbots. We know that people, when they are in the field, sometimes they have questions and there is no one with them to answer those questions. So here, if they have a chatbot with them, then this will be very useful. The chatbot can answer those questions. Sometimes, or they can use the chatbot, for example, to call for help. They can use it also to avoid, typing text, because their hands are busy doing other things. So instead of typing text and reports, they can simply record the voice using the chatbots. They can, or the company itself can also use chatbots to help training the new hires. The next application is about using data science for a better decision making. So here we know that the companies collect a lot of data from manufacturing processes, which or this data remains inefficiently used, and it's simply infeasible to try to analyze it manually, because first, the data is huge, a lot of data, and also because this operation will be costly, would be time consuming, and it's not precise. It doesn't permit to have a clear insight when it is done by humans. So the solution here is to rely again on EI to rely on data analytics to draw clear insights from the geoscience data and to generate intelligent recommendations for a better decision making. Another application is about the oil and gas exploration. So the challenge here is that the exploration task is very expensive and very imprecise. It's done within very huge areas, in the seas, in the oceans, in the desert. And also there is a risk for humans. And an EI-based solution could consist in using robots to do exploration, using drones to gather seismic images, and relying on computer vision solutions to analyze all this amount of information and images. Of course, there is plenty of other possible applications. For example, increasing the efficiency and productivity of exploration operation, automating the initial stage of exploration and production, and so on and so forth. So here I tried simply to enumerate some potential applications, but we should know that the number of possible applications is simply infinity. Now, what about renewable energy? So we know that the world is going towards renewable energy to replace fossil energy, and EI can be very useful as well. For example, for predicting the generation of renewable energy, for predicting their impact on the electric grid, because this energy, once generated, it is injected into the grid, to help integrating hybrid solar and battery storage systems, to predict equipment failure, like in the case of oil and gas, to improve demand forecasting, and to asset management, to automate many operations, to help having smart grid, storage, and so on and so forth. So again, in renewable energy, EI can be very beneficial. I will conclude my talk with some remarks and some practical recommendations. So as a conclusion, we can say that energy security is very important for every country. The second remark is that AI can be very useful in ensuring energy security through, for example, the improvement of operations like exploration, like production, through also improving and ensuring the security and the safety of employees, through the reduction of consumption, through or like the adoption of solutions like smart homes, like smart cities, smart grid, etc., etc. So we can say that it is a very interesting research direction, AI and data science for oil and gas and for energy in general, and for ensuring energy security. And as a practical advice that I may give to maybe to our PhD students is together maybe with your supervisors, not try to work on different topics. Try to become expert in one maybe very small topic, but to become expert in it. So try to identify a practical problem, a small problem, but which really challenges the energy company. But this advice is useful for maybe for any other type of topics as well. So try to identify a very specific problem and to work on it and to become expert in this problem, maybe to propose different solutions for the same problem. And also for maybe the team leader, it can be interesting to have a whole team working on the same problem. This will help them communicate with each other and to help each other, and again to build an expertise for the work team. Also not to move to another problem before having a resolving or bringing some solution to this problem. Another maybe recommendation for our dear students is to fill in your gaps when you are working, you are doing your PhD or your research in general. You will face some difficulties, for example, related to, maybe you are not mastering the tools. You need to master deep learning, but you don't master it. So try to fill in this gap to learn it. And sometimes, or maybe always, it's very useful also to have international collaboration in your research. So thank you again very much, and it is a pleasure to have a discussion with you. Assalamu alaikum.